Hello, English composition students. This short screencast will show us how to go about putting together a works cited list for our summary and response essay. Actually, this is going to be for assignment 5, which is a list of the 2 different articles that you can choose from for your summary response essay. So this will be slightly different from actually putting a works cited page on your essay. And I'll explain about that a little bit later. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is go to Course Materials and Content. And then down in the module, we want to look for MLA Helps, okay, which is what I have open here. So in this module, you're going to find several things that you will need to return to and look at over the semester. The first couple links here and files will show you how to format your essay in Word for MLA 8th edition, which is what you need to be using in this class. This one shows you how to format a page header on a Mac because it's slightly different than Windows. Then down in here we're going to get into the actual citing of sources a little bit. So this general guidelines for MLA works cited list is a great one to have at your fingertips. I have already downloaded it, so let me open it here. Basically, it's going to show you how the list works. It's going to show you how it's organized. So the elements or pieces of information needed for a works cited entry are the following: the author, if a work has one. The title comes next. The title of the larger work in which the source is located, which is called the container, which might be a collection, a journal, a magazine, a website, etc. The next part of the citation is whatever of this you have. So not every source is going to have an editor or a translator or a director or a performer, but this is the order that you would put these in. So you can kind of just look through these and see, does my source have any of these? Most every source is going to have a publisher or sponsor, a date of publication, and a location of the source. And so these are the things that you're probably going to have along the lines with every single citation. This gives you more rules, just basic rules about how to do the authors, how to do the titles, how to use different fonts, capitalization, and publication information. So you need to take a look at this and keep it by your side. You might even just want to go ahead and print it out and keep it as a list to refer back to. So one of the things to think about is that you need to arrange the works cited list alphabetically by the author's last name, okay? Another thing with titles is that you capitalize all of the words except the articles like a, n, and the, and prepositions like at, between, from, under, and coordinating conjunctions such as and, but, or, nor, for, so, and yet, and the to infinitives. So you can keep this list with you too, but basically you use just what we call a title case for the title of it. I know today that a lot of times, even in a publication in a newspaper or online, the title will not have all the major words capitalized. And if you find that that's what's happening with your source, you still have to capitalize the words that need to be capitalized for MLA. Elements of publication information are separated by commas with the period at the end. And then here's just a few little things you want to look at too, about, like if it's university publishers, you call it UP. Like UP of Florida would be the University Press of Florida. So just some things like this that'll help you. This is just a real basic list, but it'll get you by for a little while until you find some other resources. Okay, so what I also want to show you on the MLA Helps is that there is a form fill practice template here. I've already downloaded it, and it looks like this. And what's nice about this template is that all you have to do is upload it, and then because it's form fill, even though it's PDF, you can go through and fill in all of those, all of the blanks that need to be filled. So everything has an author pretty much. Sometimes you're going to find maybe on the web where the author is not listed. In that case, you just start with the title of the source. So author, title, and notice that at the end of each one there's a period. Author, period, title of source, period. Then the title of the container, which is followed by a comma. And then if you have other contributors, and like versions, numbers, publishers, etc., that would come next. The publisher followed by a comma, the publication date followed by a comma, and the location, which for us is either the URL or what we call a permalink or a DOI, a digital object identifier. Sometimes you're going to find more than one container. For example, if your source was found on a library database, then you'd have to add a little bit more here. So that will be something that you'll look at later. But both of these articles just come off of a website, so we'll take a look at how to do this. Going back to our modules, and I'm looking at Project 1 Summary Response Essay. So you'll notice, you probably already should know that, I have put the articles that you need for, oops, let me find that again. I've got to open it. The actual articles that you need for this essay are here. So is smart making us dumb is one, and why generation, why yuppies are unhappy is the second one. Let's take a look at why generation, why yuppies are unhappy. Okay, so you can either open the PDF or there is a link to this one. And so I've already opened it up on the internet, and here we are. So the first thing we want is the author. So let's see if we can find the author. I look down here, by Tim Urban. Okay, so we're going to go back over here and put in Urban. Oops, comma, Tim, period. The next thing we have to do is the title. Why generation, why yuppies are unhappy. Let's put that in here. And the title is always placed in quotation marks. I'm pretty sure that we need to capitalize that R because it is actually the verb, right? Notice how I placed my period before this, okay? Make sure you do that before the quotation mark. Now we need the title of the container. So usually what we look for here is the website name. Notice that at the top of it just says HuffPost, and that's kind of a new way that Huffington Post is a new logo that it has for itself, but we want to use the whole thing, huffingtonpost.com, all right, or just Huffington Post, because that's the name of the website. So we go into the practice template and we write Huffington Post. Notice, I guess we should probably go ahead and capitalize these, that the template also shows you that you need to italicize the name of the container. Okay, so remember that. Then that's going to be followed by a comma. We don't have, let's go back and see if there's any other contributors like an editor. I don't see anything there. I've looked through the whole thing and I don't see any other contributors, so we don't need to worry about that. The next thing we need to take a look at is, let's see, the publisher, okay? You find the publisher usually by going down to the very bottom of the page. And it'll be next to the copyright. So the publisher for the Huffington Post is Oath Incorporated. Okay, so that we're going to add here. All right, the publication date, let's take a look. So we're going back into the article. There is an original date and there's an updated version. So you want to use the latest date that's on there. So we want to use an inverted date. So here's how it works. You would write 8 November and spell the whole thing out. No, I mean, we need to abbreviate it, I'm sorry. 2017. Is that it? Is it 17? Yeah. So abbreviations in the works cited list itself, we use the first 3 letters of the month. The exceptions to the rules are June, July, so they would be June, July. And then September, for some reason we put SEPT, and I don't know why. Otherwise, it's MAR for March, JAN for January, etc. So it's the day without a 0 in front of it, the abbreviated month and the year, and notice there is no comma anywhere here. Location. Location is basically going to be, for us right here, the URL. So you can, let's see if we can copy it and paste it in there. It worked. Okay, and then you put a period at the end. So for your works cited list, then you would just have to copy each one of these in this order. All right, so here's what it would look like. Let me start a works cited list for us really fast. Sorry about that. So I'm going to put works cited in the middle. Okay, then I'm going to go back over here. So urban, I know this pretty well, so I don't have to necessarily go back and look at my list, but you can, here's where you can go back and look at what you did. Y, Generation Y yuppies are unhappy. Huffington Post, 8 November. Oops, we don't want it to be 2017 period. And then we're going to put our URL in there, which I already had saved. Now, so we want a period at the end. We also want to take out the HTTPS. And you could take out the www, but it's okay to start with that. Now, if for some reason, like when you do this, if your hyperlink comes up, you want to get rid of that hyperlink. So I just do it simply by taking out the underline and going to a black font. There's other ways you can do it, but with my little laptop, it's the best way. Okay, that's our first one. Now, the next thing you have to do on a works cited list is everything needs to be double spaced. So once I have the list together, I would go through and double space it. Then you also want what is called a hanging indent. So go up here to your paragraph icon, whatever it looks like, whether it's on a Mac or with Windows, and there's a place where you can have options, and usually you'll find this under special, and we want to put hanging, and that's what it looks like. Okay, so then we would move on to our next one. Actually, because it's going to be alphabetized, I would have to put